Throwback Thursday, October 5th, 2017. Steve Sipress here. My Rhino of the Day made a brief appearance in yesterday's video. For those of you that follow my daily Facebook Live videos, I used this book as a platform for my Rhino on wheels rolling along. Had to be on a flat surface. And so I used this Rhino book, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with the story of Liverwurst, the baby rhino, who gets kidnapped by the evil Archibald McDute III, and eventually to get him back, and then Archibald McDute III says, "I never give up," and came after the rhino with a tank, and Liverwurst, the baby rhino's mom, stood in the way, but then she jumped out of the way at the last minute, and Archibald McDute and his bodyguards and everybody on the tank went past the mama rhino and went right into the pool. So there it is, Archibald McDute's tank, as the rhino swerved out of the way brilliantly, and the tank went plunging into the pool, and that was that. And then, as it just so happens that Archibald McDute went to court, and the judge was so angry at him for his kidnapping and his treatment of animals, poor treatment, that he made him give up everything he owned. He sold everything, and then he bought the Northern Mississippi Maulers, a famous professional football club. And his bodyguards signed up for the team, and there they are boarding the team plane, the famous professional football club. How ironic, go figure, that the book I'm using, and then of course the newspaper shows the next day that they got killed. So they were taking after my formerly beloved New York Jets, I'm guessing, which brings us to Throwback Thursday. And it's a book off the shelf. Oh, I forgot. This book dates back to, I don't know, I've had this one for a long time. The Liverwurst is Missing illustrated book is copyright, can't read it without the old glasses. Copyright 1981. 1981. So there you go. Book is about 36 years old or so. Very nice. Doesn't look a day old for 35. And so Throwback Thursday, I feel myself about to complete the 5 stages of grief. Now, for those of you not familiar with the 5 stages of grief, they became very prominent, still are to some people, but were extremely prominent almost a year ago now, when Hillary Clinton lost the unlosable election. That, gee, how could I lose? Well, maybe because you are a completely despised, miserable, awful person that who the heck would ever want to vote for you. But anyway, I digress. Clearly, with the 2 candidates that pretty much equally no one wanted to vote for, it was about the issues. And so Hillary Clinton's side of the issues lost miserably and spectacularly. However, her devoted, or not devoted, but people that espouse more government control of everything and think the government is good and government should do everything and government should solve every problem, that's about half America thinks that way. They proceeded to get a severe case, a lot of them, of Trump derangement syndrome, and they went through tremendous grief, which some of them, again, have not completed the 5 stages of grief. But we learned about them, starting with denial, moving to anger, then bargaining, then depression, and then finally the 5th stage, acceptance, and you're done. So the first step, denial. These Hillary voters were like, it can't be. Let's contest the election. Let's get the, let's convince the electoral voters from the Electoral College to swing their vote away from Trump. They don't have to do that. They can vote for whoever they want. They're in denial that, dude, she lost. Okay, let's go. So they were all this denial. Oh, and then we're not going to show up. These same yeehaws that now are pouncing all over everything Trump does because they're so American, didn't even show up for the inauguration because they were, again, still miserably in denial. So that became or morphs into anger. And so you saw that with all those marches right around Election Day. And, oh, I thought about blowing up the White House, Madonna and all these celebrities and all the anger, which still to this day, again, there's people stuck in stage 1 or 2. And then it moves on to bargaining. well, you know, if this, then that, or if we could this, then that, or I'll get over it if, or, you know, whatever. And then it moves into total depression and then final acceptance. Well, I'm going through that, just about done. I can feel it over my 50-plus years devotion to my beloved New York Jets and the NFL, who I find now absolutely morally contemptible and impossible to root for or watch any of these spoiled kids playing a game. And I can't even believe now that for my entire life, pretty much, I gave a crap what they did and spent a lot of time and money and a lot of effort and energy. Like, now I'm like, what was I thinking? But went through these 5 stages. Stage 1 of the denial. I'm like, you know, this won't continue. Like, they'll cut it out now. Any day now, they will have some self-respect and stand and face the flag and put their hand over the heart for the national anthem. Come on now, this can't continue. I was in denial. Clearly, then the owners got involved. You know, the NFL commissioner comes down and goes, I'm not going to make them abide by the rule. And so, you know, denial was over now. They're really doing this. So then the anger came in with, like, watching it on TV and getting angry and going like, you losers, you scum, you, like, disrespecting your country, your flag, your national anthem, yourself. Like, I'm in favor of all your causes and all your protests and all whatever, but I am not in favor of this disrespecting the flag. You're an idiot. Who could be? And so then their excuse is always, I love it. It's like, no, it's not about the flag. It's about racial inequality. It's about this and that. Yeah, but see, if you kneel or pout or, you know, put your face in your hands or you sit down or you whatever, you disrespect the flag, it is about the flag. Dude, you can do it before, you can do it after, you can do it for the other 160, however many hours there are in a week, other than those 90 seconds. Would kill you for 90 seconds to have some self-respect. And thank heavens that you're in America, greatest country on earth, which allows you to make millions of dollars to play games 16 days a year and practice for a few months otherwise, and then you're off for the rest of the year to beat up your women and take your drugs and, you know, breed your killer dogs and abuse them and do all the stuff that NFL players love to do. A big portion of them, probably more NFL players abuse women, drugs, and all kinds of other things than are now sitting claiming it's not about the national anthem, but they're disrespecting the national anthem. Anyway, I digress. You see this. See, I'm not through it yet. Still this anger. And once I get through this anger, then we go into bargaining. And I'm like, if they would only, and I catch myself dropping back into bargaining where, you know, if they would only stop doing it, then I'll go back and be an NFL fan. But I'm pretty much past that. I'm like, yeah, no, not going back. Like, I'm 57 years old, for crying out loud. How am I still giving a crap what these young, spoiled kids do and to give up my time and money to do it? I look back over my life and I think all the things I missed. All the days on Sunday, oh, if you want to play golf, well, I can't because the game is on. Like, I actually said that and did that. Like, do you want to go do this on the weekend? Well, no, I want to watch the game. Racing back home to make sure you get the game, or, you know, going to the game. That's like an hour and a half of driving through traffic and paying for parking and paying for the tickets and paying exorbitant prices for the food. I just can't believe I did all this. And then driving back home through the traffic for an hour and a half, only to see the New York Jets lose like 30-0 or whatever they always do. When I was lived in Boston for 17 years, I made the annual trek. The Foxborough Stadium, whatever it's called now, is like an hour, 45 minutes south of Boston without traffic. On game day, it's like an hour and a half, and the same thing. Then you cattle call through the parking lot and into the game, and then my Jets would lose 55-12 and 56-3 or whatever. You know, I'm still behind them. Go Jets! Like, what an idiot! I'm past it. So the next step is depression, and that's kind of where I am now, because I still am reminded of the Jets when I walk around and I look around my stuff. I've started piling it up, and pretty soon I'll be putting it into a box, putting it somewhere. And this will be one of the things, Throwback Thursday, that'll go into it. This is a Christmas present came out in 2000. Man, I looked at it before I shot the bit. 2010. So it's about 7 years old. 100 things Jet fans should know and do before they die, or before they realize what an idiot I am. I'm going to stop being a Jets fan. And so, you know, this is, since it's 7 years ago, it doesn't have any current things going on, but, you know, it does start off, as all New York Jets things always do and always will, with page 1, Joe Namath. You got to know about Joe Namath. Joe Namath put the New York Jets on the map, simple as that, and it goes on. So I'll have these kind of memories. I need to put these in a box and put them away so that I can get through this depression of like, man, that's, you know, it was a big part of my life, and I liked it, and I liked wearing the Jets clothes and seeing the Jets things on the walls, and I consider myself one of those loyal people on earth. Like, in fact, that's the title of this video. I put a die-hard fan, then I had to look it up. So here's a couple of definitions. Let's look it up. Here's the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Die-hard is defined as strongly or fanatically determined or devoted, such as die-hard fans, especially strongly resisting change. And so you see that I'm a die-hard because I'm dying hard. It's very hard for me to separate myself from 50-plus years of following the NFL and the New York Jets in particular. And I'm strongly and fanatically determined or devoted. I was, so I'm dying hard here. It's hard to pull myself away. And then dictionary.com definition, I like this one. A person who vigorously maintains or defends a seemingly hopeless position or a lost cause and the like. I love it. So that's me. And the adjective, to die hard is to resisting vigorously and stubbornly to the last. Stubborn. Well, I've always been stubborn, loyal, stubborn. That's what it is. And so I am vigorously, stubbornly maintaining or defending a seemingly hopeless position of rooting for the New York Jets. Oh, that's perfect. So that's me. So now I'm in the depression state. We're like, oh, and used to be a New York Jets fan, used to give a crap, used to care, and I'm pretty much getting over that. Like I'm kind of getting over being depressed, but kind of, not there yet. Then I will be into the final 5th stage of acceptance. I'll just accept it, and I will move on. And I predict that I will have a much more enjoyable life. Like, what was I doing all those years? I got my Sundays back in the fall now. Sundays are beautiful for doing all kinds of stuff and not caring anymore who wins or lose, who stands, who sits, who whatever. Like, I give a crap. You want to disrespect yourself and your country, go ahead. I don't give a crap anymore. Like, be an idiot. The owners and the executives, you want to, like, have me, who spent a lot of money and a lot of time giving a crap about your league. If we're only even at 10%, you want to see your ratings go down 10%, the value of your franchises go down 10%, stock prices go down 10%. Go ahead. What do I care? I'm out. So Rich is here, and I know, Rich, you feel differently. Jay Bruce giving the Yankees great tonight. I did see that. I'm watching the game over here. Baseball, still love baseball. And as far as I can tell, they all have a clue, and the league has a clue, and the players are, gee, go figure, let's see, they're standing at attention and facing the flag and taking their cap and putting it in their right hand and putting it over their heart for the national anthem. Go figure. Wow, it's something that we just expected and took for granted my whole life suddenly is a big deal. But loving the playoffs. And yeah, so great game yesterday here in Arizona where the Diamondbacks went up 6-0 and then proceeded to, almost get it tied up, but they finally won 11-7. But like 30 hits, 18 runs, or an exciting game, and 4 triples in the game, like pretty exciting. And then I just saw Jay Bruce, who the Mets had briefly, and he hit a double out off the fence or whatever it was. Very cool to see. An ex-Mets. I root for the Mets and the ex-Mets. Who knew? And so who else is here? Rob is here. Steve, Sharon, and Jim are here. Thanks for being here as I go through to console me as I go through my 5 ages of grief over all the years I wasted and all the time and money I spent and wasted. Oh, I didn't waste it. I enjoyed it, but no more. I don't enjoy it anymore, and I'm over it. And there were plenty of other things. And, I think it was, well, I probably didn't come up with it, but I remember hearing Zig Ziglar say, the late, great Zig Ziglar, who was a door-to-door salesman and sales trainer, and I did 9 years of door-to-door sales. And my car, I wore out the cassette tapes. So Zig Ziglar physically wore out cassette tapes and had to get new ones. I remember him saying, you don't get rid of a habit, you replace it. And now I'm thinking, was that Tony Robbins, which both of them took almost everything from somebody else. So somebody said that, and I like that. You don't give up a habit, you replace it with something. Like if you want to quit smoking, don't think of it as like, I got to quit smoking. Start, that's why they do e-cigarettes or something, replace with a different habit. I remember back in the day, people, I never smoked, but people being told, well, every time you feel like taking a cigarette, go kiss your wife instead. Like, so you start a new habit and replace it. And so I would simply replace the habit I already have. It's been 2 Sundays in a row, And now this will be a third one of not watching the NFL, not even knowing who's playing, who's winning, who's losing, who's sitting, who's standing, who's throwing, who's catching. I don't care. I don't know. I am not paying attention to my fantasy football leagues. I'm not setting my lineups. I'm not even looking at it. I'm not watching any highlights on TV. I'm not. I'm out of it. And that frees up my time, my energy to do something else. So there you go. I will replace it with a different habit. And when that happens, and I'm doing such and such every Sunday, I will no longer, it'll make it much more difficult to ever fall back into the old habit of giving a crap what these spoiled, self-loathing kids are doing to ruin their own league and their own game and their own, by just having no self-respect. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks everyone for being here, and thanks for the likes and the comments and all that kind of stuff, and being with me as I go through my 5 stages of grief. And I am a die-hard fan, dying hard here, because I'm vigorously maintaining or defending a seemingly hopeless position. Love that definition. And I'll be back tomorrow with Foundation Friday. Now, tomorrow, if I do what I'm planning on doing, it's not exactly a foundational tip. It's a little advanced, but still, I noticed that that's the day that I give tips. And so it's for those of you that normally tune out for Foundation Friday because the tips for growing your business and sales and marketing are too foundational and basic and they're beneath you, I'm going to share a slightly or fairly advanced tip tomorrow on Foundation Friday. So we'll call it, well, I'll have to think of something going above the Foundation Friday. It'll be tomorrow. So I hope you'll join me then. And thanks for being with us tonight. Now I'm going back to watching a sport where the players actually have self-respect. Go figure. Woo! Thanks for joining me.